Welcome back to Steve Robb Reviews, and welcome to an interesting project I'm going to do today. I'm going to be putting in a couple of vents, fresh air vents. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to show you all the materials I'm using, and I'm going through an 8-inch block wall. So let's start it off right here. I'll give you a little bit of an idea of what I'm trying to accomplish, and we'll see how easy it is this to actually do. So let's get started right now. Okay, so in my little off-grid cabin here, yeah, it's all off-grid. I run everything off of solar. There's my bedroom right in there. And you can see I've got a window. And we go over to the next bedroom here. Yeah, no window. No fresh air vent, no nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all this stuff out of the way. And I'm going to put a fresh air vent right there. Now what I'm planning on doing in the future is, you see that type style of window? Well, I'm planning on putting one right there. But for this year, I'm just going to put a fresh air vent because this room's got no ventilation. I really can't notice that there's been any downside to it, but I just like to have more ventilation. So I'm going to put one in there. So what I got to do is I got to take all this panel off here. I got to move everything out of the way, and then we'll get started. But the first thing I want to do is I want to show you what a block looks like, because a lot of people have never seen a block. They're not too sure what a block actually looks like and how you cut through it. So let's just go outside and let's just take a look at a block. Okay, so here's some of my solar panel setup. This is just a light for my barbecue. I've shown that before. And this is 2 solar panels that power up my fans on the inside of my camp just for ventilation. And I'll just bring you along the side here and just show you that for people that haven't seen it before. It's early in the morning here still, and there you can see the fans, the 3 fans. They're on there. They run from sun up to sundown, and they're bringing air from outside and putting it inside. And so far it's been working great. So, but let's get back to this block here. And this is an 8-inch house block. So what I'm planning on doing is boring a 4-inch hole right through here. Now you can see where if you try to bore a hole through that side, you're not going to get too far, right? You're going to have to go through the whole thing. So I'm planning on just measuring it up and just cutting a 4-inch hole right through one side, right through to the other. So I'll bring you back when I got that room all disassembled so I can start doing my drilling with my core drill. Okay, so let's take a look and see what I got there so far. Okay, lucky I brought my multi-tool here to cut this edge all the way along, because what I did when I was putting up these walls is I put the sheets up first and then I put this dividing wall in, and well, you can take a look here and see, yeah, I just had to snip off just a bit there out of the 4x8 sheet. So I mean, that multi-tool did a great job of getting in there. And of course, yeah, it makes a nice mess. So anyways, what we got to do here is I'm going to take down a hunk of this insulation just so that I could see the block in behind. And I'll bring you back when that's done and when I start drilling. Okay, so this is the setup here. I've got a 4 3/8 core bit, and I've got just a little bit bigger one here, and this one here is not an SDS Plus, it's just regular. It's going to go on my regular drill. You'll see what that's for, hopefully. And I'm going to start off with a small bit right here, and if we go over to the wall, I marked it out, and I'm telling you, 4 3/8 is going to be a really tight fit to fit in that block. I'll be surprised if I can go through. But I do have a smaller one, a 4 1/8. But let's try the 4 3/8 and see if I can get through there. I'm just going to put a pilot hole through first, and then you'll see what comes on next. Okay, so let's just punch a little hole through here. Okay, so that's just using the regular drill, not the hammer drill part. So I like to start off with just using the drill, because if you start off with the hammer drill, well, it'll wander all over the place. So let's go to the hammer drill and you notice a big difference. Okay, so we punched a hole through there. So let's go on to the next bit, next size up. And let's punch a hole through here. It goes through like butter, doesn't it? Okay, so now the next part is the interesting part, so let's get on to that. Okay, so you got the drill going through here. How do you know if you're up or down or left or right? It's pretty easy to judge like straight ahead, but are you level? So I'll show you what I like to do is, now this is not a hammer drill, but what I like to do is just bring it up. Now, you may not see it, but I could see the level here, and it's just about right there. So you'd never really know it was there, right? So now I'm just gonna, I think I gotta go over just a bit like this, because I can feel the other side of the block is not smooth. Now I can see that I've made an indent on the other side. So what we're going to do is we'll go to the rotary drill. I'll put in my big bit, and then we're going to see whether I can actually punch a hole that big through here, because I don't know. So the first thing you got to do is you got to take it off the hammer drill. The last thing you want to do is use a rotary hammer drill with a coring bit. So you ready? Now this bit here is going to be a little bit bigger, so it'll have to work its way through first. So that's about it right there. What do you think? Let's start her up. Well, you can see that's going to be quite the process, right? I'm not going to drag you on to make you watch me drill a hole, but it is quite dusty, I'll tell you that. So what I'm going to do is I'll bring you back when that hole is done. Okay, we're back. So there's the core that fell out down there, and if we just take a look here, you can see the dot in there, and that's exactly where, there's a better shot there. I'm not going to drill through the other side. Now, I'm going to show you what's on the other side of the building first, and then I'll bring you back inside here. Okay, so here's the exterior siding, and you could see right on this particular crack here is where the seam is, where there's a 2x4 in there. So I'm going to have to, well, we're going to find out where this is going to punch through. Either way, I got to go through that. So, but I'm going to drill on the inside first because there's a 2x4 in behind here, so that gives me 1.5 inch space. So I'm going to go through the other side first. I mean, it'd be almost impossible to try and connect this side to the inside, right? So let's do that next. So on this side, what I'm going to do again is I'm going to drill a pilot hole through there first. That is what I found to be the best way. Then once I get through the other side, then I'll show you what we're going to do then. Okay, so that looks like that hole came out in the perfect location. just on the other side of that stud. Okay, so now I put the sheet of Aspenite back up, and I drill the opposite direction so I know where to drill my hole in the Aspenite on the inside. So let's get to that next. Okay, so let's go drill a hole on the outside, and you'll see it coming through on the inside, and that'll know exactly where I have to put the hole for the vent on the inside. Okay, plan B. This drill bit is not long enough to go from the outside all the way to the inside. So let's see what else I got up here in the shop. Okay, so the best I've got is this longer concrete bit. And hopefully that ladder is going to be enough support to hold it there while I drill the hole through. Let's see what happens. Plan B. Okay, so did you see anything happen there? Because I know I didn't go through, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if there's a hole on the back side. There should be enough of an indentation on the back side that I can see where that bit was actually touching. It should have started to push its way through there, but let's look on the black side and let's see if there is anything. Okay, so there she is. I just put a little bit of pencil in there to highlight it up so I can drill a hole through there with a regular wood bit now, and now I'll know where the center is. So what we can do now is I can finish punching that hole out right there. Now if you're wondering how long does it take to drill a hole like this, well, I only drilled for about maybe a minute at a time. It took me about 5 minutes, 5-6 minutes. Now on the inside it'll go faster because I don't have to worry about the dust so much because it's going to drop down in the cavity. But I would say you should be able to drill a hole like that with a good core bit in about 5 minutes. So let's get to drilling. Okay, so let's see what we done here. And as you could see on the right hand side there, you can just barely see the stud. Okay, that's fine. At least I didn't get in the whole stud, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the outside and I'm going to make a hole with this hole saw. So I'll drill that and then I'll bring you back. Okay, so let's take a look what I got so far. And you could see I've got the hole done here. And let's go over to the window or to the vent. And you could see I just kind of force fit just a hunk of wood in there to go between both sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to butter up the outside of that over there with some silicone caulking, and then you'll bring it back inside and I'll show you what the inside's going to look like, and it's going to fit in that hole. And I ground down the end of this one here to fit in the hole. I added some sill gasket, so that'll just seal up around the block around the other side. Then I'll show you what I'm going to do on the inside. Okay, so how does that look? You could see, did you notice that there was a hole in the bottom of that pipe? And then I put in that fastener, and that's what it looks like on the inside. And I just got to get it ready to put the styrofoam piece back in there. And I just put some extra on the sides there, you can see, just to hold the styrofoam in. And let's go out and take a look, see what it looks like on the outside. Now that pipe will not move inside or out anymore now. I got her goobered in there pretty good, wouldn't you say? Let's go on the outside. Okay, so there's the pipe on the outside, and she's all sealed in there nice. And all I have to do is just fit the vent in the outside. It's a press-in vent, so that's why I wanted to have the screw in there so it can't push in or out, because I don't want to have to wait until the silicone all dries. So I'll fit everything together, put it all back together, then I'll show you me putting in the vent. Okay, before I button this all up and put this sheet over there, I thought I'd show you, you just put the styrofoam up against it, generally where it's going to go, and you'll see the sunlight coming through. You just mark it with your pencil, and stuff the sides all the way around with the silicone, and she's all sealed up like nobody was ever there before. And I tell you what, I can feel some nice breeze coming through there already. So let's put this sheet back up, and then we'll go outside and we'll put the first vent in. Okay, so if you've never seen one of these vents before, you see the little wings there? That's all that holds it in, and you can see the mesh inside. So you just make sure that you got it oriented so that no rain goes in, because if you put it like this, it's just going to capture the rain, right? So you just kind of put it on the side, and you press some little tabs in as you go. Now I got it buttered on the back side with some silicone, as you can see there. Oh, come on. You're going to get some on your hands. There. Okay. So what I got to do now is kind of clean that up a bit. You really have to put some silicone in there. And then it still gives you the opportunity to straighten it up to where you want. And that's it right about there. Let's go on the inside. Let's see what the inside looks like. Well, there we go right there. I turned the light off in here just so you could see. It does provide some little extra lighting. I'll turn the light back on. And that's it right there. I mean, it's pretty easy to do. Now, I don't need no silicone in here or anything. It's sealed up pretty good. And you can see the meshing behind there, so no bugs get through or anything. And that is the prevailing wind right on the outside of that block wall. And it is just awesome. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put all the trim on. I'm not going to bother showing that. But I got some updates to the camp here. And I'm going to show you some of the updates for you that want to stick around and see some interesting stuff that I've added to the camp and how they've worked out over time. Okay, so I'm just going to go through some updates from the camp. And one thing that I've done that might be a good suggestion for many people is I use my pneumatic staple gun, and it flattened this right out nice. So if we take a look, you can see that there's staples all along the front edge there. And the reason being is this is the second year this has been on, and it's no problem applying the staples. And I would come up and this would be all pulled up. The chairs would be pulled towards the center, and these got to weigh 75, 80 pounds each. But the wind would get underneath this. So now, yeah, it's down for good. So I mean, a lot of people could use flat-headed screws, I guess, but I found the staples works best for me. So just want to take you over to the little bit of a shop I got here, and I'm going to show you a couple of things. Not much has really changed up here. It's pretty much the same as last year. So, but I did do a couple of different things inside the little bit of a shop I got here. And as soon as we get some light, there we go. Okay, so this here was the old one. It was a 1500 watt inverter. Now I got the 4000 watt. It's the same as the one I got in the back of the cabin. So now I can pretty much run anything. I also replaced my charge controller. For the only reason being is the old one was like 15 years old, and I thought, why push my luck, right? I mean, they're only $20. So if you take a look in the shop here, I've only got really one outlet, but I've got two plugs in there. So when I designed this, I ran one here, and all the other wires go to the ceiling. You know, for the lights, there's 4 lights. But what I am going to do is tap into the second line and bring it down, so I've got a box on the outside. Because a lot of stuff when I'm cutting stuff and that kind of thing, it's nice to have a receptacle outside. So now I've got 15 amps on this one, 15 amps on this one. And I can pretty much run anything, a table saw, you name it. So what's the other thing I want to do an update on? Well, I want to show you this Vosker camera. I showed this before. It's very bright out here and everything, but that's it up there. And I showed in the springtime when I come up here, it wasn't working. The antenna was flopped down. So you could see there, I just ran a little bit of a copper guide wire over to it to keep the antenna up. But that wasn't the problem. So everything else was fine in the camp. You know, I've got my, if you take a look on the side here, I've got the signal booster. Everything was working fine. But the only thing that was wrong is it just stopped working in the middle of the winter. Maybe it was just too cold for it. So I come up, the green light was on, supposed to be good. I turned it off, turned it back on. Now it's working fine. Well, thanks for joining me here today on this little bit of an adventure putting in that that vent. It was, well, I think it would be out of a 10, it's probably a 6 or a 7. I mean, it does take, you know, a little bit of effort to push the rotary hammer into the block to get it out, but 5-6 minutes each side is fine. And I can already feel a nice little breeze coming through there already. I think it's just fantastic. And give you a little bit of an update on what's going on up here. And that Vosker camera, I'm going to give another update next year to see if that thing lasts the winter. Because just turning it off and on, well, you know, I think it just kind of, well, I think it got too cold up here for it during the winter. So we'll see how it does next year, but it's back up and running now, so we'll see what happens. So thanks for joining me here today. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe and see some more interesting things from Northern Ontario. Cheers.